Hey, what's going on, fellas? Going to kind of go over some meta offenses and try to figure out what's the best ways to maybe stop some of these plays and give you three card Monty, as I call it, or just a three-game mini plan. So you're not always in the same coverage versus a particular route concept that you can kind of anticipate, but it may not happen all the time, right? That's the thing about meta offensive players. They're going to run the best routes, and they may surprise you, but most of the time it's going to be in key situations if you do any film study. But if you just kind of rotate through, when you see a certain formation, to get yourself into a particular front is important, stop the run, and a particular coverage sometimes to stop the passes, you're going to improve your defense just by playing in this fashion. Okay. So by this time of year, we kind of know what plays are really popular, and really a lot of them are holdovers from the year before. So what you're learning now is probably the first things you want to check as soon as the beta drops in about a month or so. Okay, so let's just take a look at single back bunch tight end plus drag. Everybody knows this play. It gets guys open a lot. I'm going to give you three different solutions. Doesn't really matter your playbook. You should have these coverages in there. Okay, so the run game part of this is annoying. So I just want to let you know there is some good runs. There are some inside zone plays, things like that. I don't think there's any RPOs from this formation. But really, let's just focus on the pass. If I see somebody come out in this formation, I will live with the run, knowing that the pass is coming. So if I give up 5 to 10 yards in a run play, I'm not going to cry about it. All right. You can't have everything. If you want to be a sim player, you can't have everything. Okay. So that's the one thing I'm willing to give up. All right. So I'm anticipating pass. So the first call that I'm going to call is going to be cover one robber press. Okay, so most of the time they're press. If you're a 2-4 guy, you can call cover one robber. It doesn't have to be press. All right. So I'm going to spend about maybe 3 minutes on each coverage. If you have any questions, please let me know. All right, and then we'll do some other plays, that are popular that I see people using a lot, and we'll try to come up with the best answers for it. All right, so you can have a little mini game plan that's always available to you anytime you want. All right. So the very first thing is you have to make sure that number two is not pressed. Okay, this is his natural position in cover one robber press. If you flip the defense, all right, sometimes you're back up, but he's not doing it now. The big thing you have to do is to back him off. So let me just quickly show you what happens if you don't back him off. Sometimes he loses the jam animation, and then this is what happens. That route gets wide open. To me, that's the number one route, right? And then people have a nice little check down with the tight end coming across, and then also people are known to, if nothing's open, to just throw this dig. It usually opens up pretty late for you in most plays. Okay, so that's kind of what people do. So first thing we're going to do on defense is just back off the nickel so that we now have no press animation. Okay. Also, if you took a look at the replay, let's look at the linebackers. Right, they're banjoing, which is an in and out call on the tight end and the running back. So as soon as the running back goes out to the right and the tight end comes under to the left, the two linebackers switch their initial responsibility, all right, and they take on the guy that's coming to their side. If you're in press position, I've seen it happen sometimes where that linebacker will run into the nickel right here, and they would basically, they would bump each other off their man. So just be aware of that. So this helps right there, that banjo though. So you can't use her is another thing. You can't use the linebackers because if you're using the linebackers, the banjo will not take place. So in this defense, let's use it as safeties and go from there. Don't use it to linebackers, okay? That's going to give you better coverage on the tight end coming across. It may not be, he's not going to be wide open. You're in position to at least make a catch tackle, right? And then over here, this linebacker, he plays with a little bit of depth, okay? And what that does is he doesn't just run down to his responsibility. He gets in the window of number three running his shallow crossing route. All right. So watch number three. That's another guy that a lot of people probably would assume they'd get open. But with that linebacker kind of sitting there, I bet you a lot of people are just gonna have to check the ball down. Okay. So we're good there. So now let's just go to the next part of this, and that's going to be looking at the safeties. Okay. So the safeties right here, like I had talked about, you can leave it in this position. It's not the worst. All right. But I like it actually to flip the play and have the hook player or the robber player come from the three receiver side. Now, you're going to tell me, well, what happens if it's a corner route? People are going to throw corners out of this. Again, we are trying to play the meta play. All right. So if you want to do anything, you might want to play outside leverage. That's fine. You can try to get your guys ready to play outside leverage just in case it's a corner. But again, we're not here trying to defend ghosts. We're trying to defend what's the problem. I'm going to use this safety. Instead of me running to the middle of the field, I'm not going to run like this to the middle, right? I'm actually going to sit right here when I call my quarters track and back up and look for that number 2 running that deep crosser. To me, that's the guy that has the highest potential of getting open. And then watch the safety. He's going to drop down and kind of get in that window of number 2 to start. And then he's going to sit there and be in the final window for that dig route at the end. All right. So take a look at this. You see how he kind of gets into that window of the dig? So I think a lot of people might actually throw that by accident. All right. So that's the first play, guys. Cover one robber. All right. Again, we didn't talk about the run front and we didn't talk about the front, but you can find cover one robber in a lot of different fronts. Okay. Even if you're playing a 3-4 defense. Okay. So just want to make sure that that's there for you. Make sure you know what's going on. I suggest to stay in nickel, by the way. You might be able to get away with it in dime if you have better personnel, but try to make sure you have at least 5 DBs on the field. Okay. All right, so just kind of keep it going along with the package. It really doesn't matter what your package is, but the next thing that I will look into is cover 9, okay? Just regular cover 9, all right? And it's going to be a show 2, but that won't make a difference here. Now, cover 9, show 2. If you just ran it stock, not the best, okay? There's going to be some issues here, all right? Namely, the tight end being wide open. That's the main issue, in my opinion. I got a little bit of pressure there, but usually if you hold the ball a little bit longer, that tight end, nobody covers him, okay? So here's an example now that we need to go back and use our linebacker, okay? But what we're going to do here is, again, this play and this formation, we know this is what we're trying to stop. There are a couple players here that we can make some adjustments that can actually help us out.